Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm sharing with you how I photograph low light ceremonies without flash. This has been super highly requested, so if you're excited about today's video, seeing a little bit of behind the scenes, be sure to hit subscribe because I make videos just like this every single week. So let's just quickly back up so that you can see the church, where I'm working today, and what the conditions are. There is just a little bit of natural light coming in from those windows, but it's mostly artificial light and it is pretty dark. So the first thing you want to think about when photographing a low light ceremony is your gear and selecting that gear with intention. The first thing I would recommend is that you shoot with a full frame camera body because a full frame camera body is often going to be better equipped to deal with low light. This is not a requirement. You can definitely use a crop sensor, but it's definitely going to help. The second thing is to use prime lenses because a prime lens is going to be able to allow the aperture to open up a lot wider and let a lot more light in. But you will see here, I did switch over to a 70 to 200 millimeter because I had to be at the far back of the church, and that puppy is heavy. My arms were paying for it the rest of the day, but it was worth it because I was able to zoom way in. Next thing to think about is your settings. We talked about this a little bit with your aperture and your prime lenses, and just making sure that you're shooting with the widest aperture that you possibly can to still get the image that you want. You're still getting your subject in focus, but you're letting the most amount of light into your camera body. The other thing to think about is your shutter speed. I like to go as slow as I possibly can in my shutter speed while still maintaining a sharp subject because I want to get that light into my camera. Now, I do raise my camera's ISO up a lot because I want my camera to be able to get a good exposure without flash. The other thing to think about, and another little tip here, is that you might want to use a monopod or a tripod so that you can go even slower in your shutter speed and reduce that camera shake, but also to save your arms. If you're going to be standing at the back of a church for 30 minutes to an hour, especially like we were here today, that would have definitely come in handy. One thing you're going to see here is as soon as I did their first kiss and I knew that they were going to come back towards me, I immediately switch cameras, turn on my flash, pull up my white bounce card, and started getting my camera settings dialed in so that when they came back towards me, I could use my flash. So whenever I can use my flash during a ceremony, when it's not going to be distracting, I definitely do. Some other thoughts on grain and noise. I know this is a huge area of concern for a lot of people when they're photographing a low light ceremony, but I'll give you a couple of tips. The first is always shoot in RAW. That's going to give you the best file size so that it has all the information you need so that you can go in post-production and make corrections. But I will say more important than that even is getting your exposure right in camera and not relying on post-production to change your exposures, which often lends itself to more grain in the end. The next thing is to know that Lightroom actually has a noise reduction panel where you can go in and get rid of some of that grain. Now, it's not going to take everything away, and it does alter the way your image looks. So I use it sparingly, but I definitely do use it. If you enjoyed this video, you are going to love what I have coming to you next week. I'm going to be sharing the rest of this wedding day with you, where you can see the tables, how I photographed the reception, and some portraits at sunset. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys.